Noah Sinclair prided himself on his efficiency. As the CEO of Sinclair Enterprises, he was known for making quick, precise decisions. He ran his company like a well-oiled machine, and his life was no different, at least most of the time. But today was a disaster. It started when his assistant called in sick, leaving him to juggle a packed schedule on his own. Then his driver got stuck in traffic, making him late for Lily's drop-off. And now, with an important board meeting in less than an hour, he was rushing to get his 4-year-old daughter to daycare before heading to the office. He parked his sleek black Mercedes in front of the small daycare center, grabbed Lily's backpack, and hurriedly unbuckled her from her car seat. "Come on, sweetheart, we're running late," he muttered, lifting her onto the sidewalk. Lily, ever the observant child, glanced at the building with a confused expression. "Daddy, are you sure this is my school?" Noah barely looked up from his phone. His inbox was flooded with emails marked URGENT, and his board members were already waiting. "Yes, sweetheart, this is the place," he said quickly. Lily hesitated. She was a bright, curious child, and something about this place felt different. But she trusted her father, so she nodded and took his hand. As they stepped inside, the scent of freshly baked cookies filled the air. The walls were adorned with colorful paintings, and the laughter of children echoed through the halls. A warm voice greeted them. "Good morning, welcome to Little Stars Early Learning Center." A woman with auburn hair and kind hazel eyes approached them. She wore a soft blue cardigan over a floral dress, her smile radiating warmth. Noah barely acknowledged her, focused instead on handing Lily's backpack over. "She's in the preschool program," he said briskly. "Her name is Lily Sinclair." The woman blinked. "Oh, But before she could finish, Noah's phone buzzed again. He exhaled sharply. "I really have to go. Please take good care of her." Lily looked up at him, a flicker of doubt in her eyes. "You'll pick me up later, right?" Noah softened for a moment, crouching to her level. "Of course, sweetheart, be good." He kissed her forehead, then turned on his heel and hurried back to his car. As the door closed behind him, Amelia Carter stood frozen, blinking in disbelief, because there was one small problem. Little Stars Early Learning Center was not Lily Sinclair's daycare. Amelia crouched in front of Lily, trying to hide her concern. The little girl's brown eyes were wide with curiosity, her tiny fingers gripping her backpack straps. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Amelia asked gently. "Lily," she answered softly. "Lily Sinclair." Amelia frowned. She had been teaching at Little Stars for years, and she knew every student by name. Lily wasn't one of them. "Lily, do you know your teacher's name?" The little girl nodded. "Miss Green." Amelia's heart sank. Miss Green worked at Bright Futures Academy, not here. Somehow, this little girl had been dropped off at the wrong daycare. Amelia glanced at the door. The man who had just rushed out, Noah Sinclair, she assumed, was already gone. She had barely managed to get a word in before he left. She took a slow breath, reminding herself to stay calm. Lily didn't need to be scared. "Well, Lily," Amelia said with a reassuring smile, "it looks like there's been a little mix-up. But don't worry, you're safe here, and we're going to have a lot of fun today." Lily tilted her head. "Are you my teacher now?" Amelia chuckled. "Just for today." Lily thought about this, then nodded. "Okay." Amelia took her hand. "Come on, I'll show you around." Noah barely made it to his meeting on time. As he stepped into the boardroom, his executive team was already seated, waiting for him. "Mr. Sinclair," one of his senior advisors greeted, "everything is in order for the quarterly presentation." "Good," Noah said, adjusting his cufflinks. He was about to sit when his phone vibrated again. Annoyed, he glanced at the caller ID. Unknown number. He ignored it. The meeting began, charts and figures flashing across the screen as his CFO detailed their latest financial report. But then his phone buzzed again, and again. By the third time, Noah sighed and grabbed his phone. "This is Noah Sinclair," he answered in a clipped tone. A warm, feminine voice replied, "Mr. Sinclair, this is Amelia Carter from Little Stars Early Learning Center." Noah frowned. "Little Stars?" "Yes," Amelia said, a hint of amusement in her voice. "I believe you dropped off your daughter at the wrong daycare." Noah stiffened. "What?" Across the table, his executives exchanged glances. Amelia chuckled. "It happens more often than you'd think. Don't worry, Lily is safe and having fun, but I thought you might want to come pick her up." Noah ran a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. Unbelievable. "Give me 20 minutes, he said before hanging up. Without another word, he stood, grabbed his suit jacket, and strode out of the meeting. His CFO blinked. Should we reschedule?" The door slammed shut before he could finish. Amelia had just finished setting up an art station when the front door swung open. Noah Sinclair stood in the doorway, his presence commanding. Dressed in a tailored charcoal suit, he looked completely out of place in the cozy, colorful daycare. Lily gasped, "Daddy!" She ran to him, and he scooped her up effortlessly. "Hey, sweetheart," he murmured, pressing a kiss to her forehead. Then he turned to Amelia. "I'm so sorry about this," he said. "I was in a rush and He exhaled. "I appreciate you taking care of her." Amelia smiled. "It's no trouble. Lily is wonderful." Noah looked at her properly for the first time. Her auburn hair framed her face, her hazel eyes warm and kind. There was something about her, something disarming. He wasn't used to this. He was used to high-stakes deals, corporate negotiations. But standing here, in this small daycare, looking at this woman who had so effortlessly taken care of his daughter, he felt something shift, something he couldn't quite explain. Amelia extended her hand. Amelia Carter. He hesitated, then shook it. Noah Sinclair. Their eyes met. And just like that, a mistake that should have never happened became the beginning of something neither of them had expected. Noah wasn't a man easily caught off guard. He had built his billion-dollar empire on precision and control, ensuring that no surprises ever disrupted his well-planned life. Yet standing in the middle of this small daycare center, shaking hands with a woman he had never met before, he found himself momentarily speechless. Amelia Carter was nothing like the people he typically dealt with. Executives, investors, board members. She was warm, effortlessly kind, and completely unaffected by the authority he exuded. Instead of being intimidated by his presence, she simply smiled, her hazel eyes filled with genuine warmth. "Lily's a wonderful kid," Amelia said, breaking the silence. "She fit right in today." Noah shifted his gaze to his daughter, who was now happily chatting with another little girl, completely unfazed by the chaos her father had just experienced. He turned back to Amelia. "I can't believe I did that. He exhaled sharply, rubbing his temple. "It's been a hectic morning." Amelia tilted her head, studying him. "I get it. Parents have a lot on their plates." He glanced at her, curious. "Do you have kids?" She shook her head. "No, but I've been working with them for years. I run Little Stars, so I see parents juggling 100 things at once every day." Noah raised an eyebrow. "You own this place?" She laughed. "Technically, yes. I started it 5 years ago. I used to be a teacher, but I wanted to create a place where kids could learn in a nurturing environment." Her voice carried a quiet passion, and for the first time in a long while, Noah found himself genuinely interested in someone's story. "Impressive," he said, meaning it. She smiled. "Thanks, and don't worry, your secret is safe with me." He smirked. "Which secret?" "That the great Noah Sinclair made a mistake." Noah let out a surprised chuckle. Not many people spoke to him so casually, especially not in a way that amused him. "You're not going to hold this over my head, are you?" he asked. Amelia grinned. "Oh, absolutely. This is too good to forget." For the first time in a long time, Noah found himself smiling, genuinely, not out of politeness or obligation. There was something refreshingly different about Amelia Carter, and he wasn't sure whether he found it intriguing or unsettling. As Noah prepared to leave with Lily, Amelia handed him a small flyer. "We're having a family day this Saturday," she said. "Parents come in, spend time with their kids, do some activities together. It might be nice for Lily." Noah hesitated. His weekends were usually reserved for business meetings or events, but then he looked at his daughter, her big brown eyes lighting up as she glanced at the flyer. "Daddy, can we go?" she asked, her voice filled with excitement. He exhaled. He never could say no to her. "All right," he said, glancing at Amelia. "We'll be there." She smiled. "Great. See you then." As Noah walked out of the daycare, holding Lily's hand, he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just another ordinary day. Something had shifted, and for the first time in a long time, he wasn't entirely sure he minded. The week passed in a blur of business meetings, negotiations, and endless emails. But despite the chaos of his usual routine, Noah found himself thinking about little stars more often than he expected. Or rather, he found himself thinking about Amelia Carter. There was something about her, something different. She wasn't impressed by his wealth or intimidated by his status. She treated him like a normal person, and strangely enough, he found it refreshing. But more than that, Lily had been talking about her non-stop. "Miss Amelia says painting helps us express our feelings," Lily announced at dinner one evening. Noah smirked. "Oh yeah? What did you paint?" "A rainbow," she beamed, "and a puppy, and a cat. But Miss Amelia said my cat looks like a dinosaur." Noah chuckled. "Sounds like Miss Amelia is a very honest teacher." Lily nodded. "She's nice, Daddy. I like her." Her words lingered with him longer than they should have. And so, on Saturday morning, Noah found himself in an unfamiliar situation, attending family day at a daycare center. The moment Noah stepped into Little Stars, he felt out of place. Dressed in his usual tailored black shirt and slacks, he was drastically overdressed compared to the parents in jeans and sneakers. He could already feel the curious glances from the other families, no doubt wondering what a CEO was doing in a small neighborhood daycare. "Daddy, come on," Lily tugged on his hand, pulling him toward the activity tables. And there, in the center of the room, was Amelia. She was wearing a soft yellow dress, her auburn hair pulled back into a casual ponytail. Her face lit up when she saw them. "You made it," she said, smiling. Noah nodded. "We did." Lily ran up to her. "Miss Amelia, I told Daddy all about our art projects." Amelia knelt beside her. "Well then, I think we should make something special today. What do you think?" Lily gasped. "A castle!" Amelia laughed. "A castle it is." She glanced up at Noah. "You're helping too." Noah raised an eyebrow. "I don't think I've built a castle since I was a kid." "Well, today's your chance to relive your childhood," she teased. Noah sighed, then took off his suit jacket, rolling up his sleeves. "Fine, but if this turns out looking like a disaster, it's on you." Amelia grinned. Challenge accepted. As they sat at the table, surrounded by children and their parents, something unexpected happened. Noah relaxed. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about quarterly reports or stock prices. He wasn't checking his phone or planning his next move. He was here with his daughter, gluing pieces of paper onto a cardboard box, pretending it was a medieval fortress. And Amelia? She was right there beside them, laughing as she added turrets made of empty toilet paper rolls. "You're actually not bad at this," she admitted, watching him carefully cut out a tiny paper flag. He smirked. "You sound surprised." "I am. I figured you were all business, no creativity." Noah feigned offense. "I have layers, Miss Carter." She chuckled. "I'm starting to see that." Lily clapped her hands. "Our castle is the best one." Amelia smiled warmly. "That's because we made it together." For a moment, their eyes met, and something shifted in the air between them, something unspoken, something neither of them was quite ready to acknowledge. After the activities wrapped up, parents slowly started leaving with their kids. Noah helped clean up, surprising himself at how natural it felt to stay behind. As he was about to leave, Amelia walked him to the door. "Thanks for coming today," she said. "I know this isn't exactly your usual scene." Noah glanced at Lily, who was happily humming to herself. "No, but I think it was worth it," he admitted. Amelia smiled. "Lily's lucky to have you." For some reason, those words struck deeper than he expected. Before he could respond, Lily tugged at his hand. "Daddy, can we walk to the car? I want to pick flowers." Noah hesitated. He always drove straight from point A to B, rarely taking time to slow down. But then Amelia spoke. "It's a nice evening. A little walk wouldn't hurt." He met her gaze, and for reasons he couldn't quite explain, he nodded. "All right, kiddo, let's take a walk." As they strolled down the sidewalk, Amelia walking beside them, Noah realized something. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't rushing to the next destination. He was exactly where he needed to be, and he wasn't sure he wanted to leave. As they walked along the sidewalk, the late afternoon sun cast a golden glow over the neighborhood. Lily skipped ahead, stopping occasionally to pick tiny wildflowers growing between cracks in the pavement. Noah found himself watching her with a soft smile, one that Amelia noticed. "You don't get to do this often, do you?" she asked gently. He glanced at her. "Take walks?" She nodded. Noah exhaled. "Not really. My life is structured, every minute accounted for." Amelia smirked. "Sounds exhausting." He chuckled. "It is. But when you run a company, there's no room for distractions." She raised an eyebrow. "And yet, here you are, walking, picking flowers?" Noah let out a soft laugh. "You're very observant." "It comes with the job," she said playfully. "I work with kids. I have to notice things others don't." He studied her for a moment. There was something about Amelia that made him want to talk, something he wasn't used to feeling. "You seem happy," he remarked. She tilted her head. "And that surprises you?" He shrugged. "Most people I know, people in business, are constantly chasing the next thing. Bigger goals, more money, more success. You don't seem like someone who's searching." Amelia smiled thoughtfully. "That's because I already found what makes me happy." Noah frowned slightly. "And what's that?" She gestured around them. "This, little stars, the kids, the way their faces light up when they learn something new, seeing them grow, knowing I had a small part in shaping their future. It's fulfilling." Noah remained silent, processing her words. Then Amelia turned the question back on him. "What about you? Does your work make you happy?" Noah hesitated. It was a simple question, yet it felt impossibly difficult to answer. Finally, he said, "It gives me purpose." Amelia studied him. "That's not the same thing." Noah didn't reply, because deep down, he knew she was right. Lily ran up to them, holding a handful of tiny flowers. "Miss Amelia, these are for you." Amelia crouched down, accepting them with a bright smile. "Thank you, sweetheart. These are beautiful." Lily grinned. "Now you have to come get ice cream with us." Amelia glanced at Noah, amused. "Oh, is that the rule?" Noah smirked. "Apparently." Lily clasped her hands together. "Please," Amelia laughed. "Well, how can I say no to that face?" And just like that, they found themselves at a small ice cream stand a few blocks away. Lily eagerly picked chocolate, while Amelia chose strawberry. Noah, ever the minimalist, opted for vanilla. Amelia stared at his cone in mock disappointment. Vanilla? Really, that's the most boring choice ever. Noah raised an eyebrow. Classic, not boring. She grinned. Safe answer. Noah smirked. I don't take unnecessary risks. Amelia gave him a knowing look. Maybe that's the problem. Her words lingered longer than they should have, and Noah found himself wondering if, for the first time in years, he might be ready to take one. As they sat on a park bench, watching Lily enjoy her ice cream, Noah turned to Amelia. Have you always wanted to run a daycare? He asked. She wiped a smudge of ice cream from her lip before answering. Not always. I was a teacher first. But when my mom got sick, I had to move back home to take care of her. After she passed, I realized I wanted to do something meaningful. So, I started Little Stars. Noah watched her closely. There was depth to her story, a quiet strength beneath the surface. I'm sorry about your mom, he said, his voice softer than usual. She offered a small smile. Thank you. They sat in silence for a moment, the kind that felt comfortable rather than awkward. Then Amelia turned the conversation back to him. What about Lily's mom? She asked gently, if you don't mind me asking. Noah hesitated, his jaw tightening slightly. She left when Lily was just a baby, said she wasn't ready for motherhood. Amelia's expression softened. That must have been hard. Noah exhaled. It was, but Lily is the best thing that ever happened to me. Amelia smiled. She's lucky to have you. Noah glanced at her, something shifting in his chest, and in that moment he realized maybe he was the lucky one. As the sun began to set, Noah checked his watch. We should probably get going, Lily pouted. Aw, do we have to? Noah chuckled. Yes, Munchkin. Amelia stood, brushing off her dress. It was fun, though. I don't think I've ever seen a CEO spend the afternoon building castles and eating ice cream. Noah smirked. Don't tell my board members. It might ruin my reputation. Amelia laughed. Your secret's safe with me. As they walked back toward the car, Noah felt something unusual. A pull. A sense that, for the first time in years, his carefully structured world was starting to bend in a way that wasn't terrifying, but rather intriguing. And as he helped Lily into the car and turned back to Amelia, he found himself saying something unexpected. Would you like to have dinner with us sometime? Amelia blinked. Are you asking me out, Mr. Sinclair? He smirked. I think my daughter already did. Lily giggled from the back seat. Please, Miss Amelia. Amelia laughed, shaking her head in amusement. Well, how can I say no to that face? And just like that, something began, something Noah never saw coming. But maybe, just maybe, he was ready for it. The invitation had been spontaneous, uncharacteristically so for Noah Sinclair. Yet as he pulled into his driveway later that evening, he found himself replaying Amelia's reaction in his mind. The way her lips curled into a smirk, the way her eyes sparkled with curiosity rather than intimidation. What was it about her that unnerved him? Or maybe the real question was, why didn't he mind? Lily, still full of energy, jumped out of the car and twirled in the driveway. Daddy, when is Miss Amelia coming for dinner? Noah smirked, loosening his tie as he followed her inside. Soon, Munchkin. You're very eager, aren't you? Lily nodded enthusiastically. Because she's nice, and she makes you laugh. Noah raised an eyebrow. I laugh. Lily giggled. Not like today. Today you were happy. Noah paused. The simplicity of her words struck something deep within him. Had he been different today? He didn't have time to dwell on it. Because the next evening, Amelia walked through the doors of his home, and everything changed. Noah had arranged for a private chef, an old habit from years of handling high-profile clients. But when Amelia stepped into the sleek, modern kitchen, she wrinkled her nose in amusement. Seriously? A personal chef? She teased. You didn't think to just order takeout? Noah smirked, pouring a glass of wine. I like things done properly. Amelia grinned. I bet you iron your socks, too. Lily giggled at that. He does. Noah shot his daughter a mock glare. Et tu, Lily. Dinner was unexpectedly comfortable. Amelia fit into their home with ease, engaging Lily in playful conversation while occasionally challenging Noah's structured thinking. But the true shift came when Lily excused herself to play in her room, leaving Noah and Amelia alone at the table. For the first time, silence didn't feel like an expectation. It felt like a choice. Amelia swirled her wine glass, studying him thoughtfully. You know, You're different than I expected." Noah arched an eyebrow. "Oh? And what did you expect?" She smirked. "A cold-hearted businessman, uptight, no nonsense." Noah exhaled a short laugh. "You're not entirely wrong." She tilted her head. "Maybe. But I think there's more to you than that." Noah leaned back, watching her. "And what do you think you've figured out?" Amelia set her glass down. "You're guarded. You act like everything in your life needs control, but deep down, I don't think you actually want that." Noah's jaw tightened. "Control is necessary." Amelia shook her head. "Control is safe, but safe doesn't always mean happy." Noah held her gaze, something unspoken passing between them. He knew she was right, but admitting it, that was a different battle entirely. After dinner, Amelia helped Lily into her pajamas, reading her a bedtime story before tucking her in. Noah stood at the doorway, watching, something warm settling in his chest. When she finally emerged from Lily's room, she smiled. "She's already asleep." Noah nodded. "She likes you." Amelia smirked. "She has good taste." Noah chuckled. As she grabbed her coat, he felt something tighten in his chest. "Amelia." She paused. For a moment, he hesitated. But then, "I don't do this," he admitted. "Let people in." Amelia met his gaze, something gentle in her eyes. "I know." And that was the moment. The moment he realized maybe letting her in wasn't the risk. Maybe the real risk was not letting her in at all. For the next few days, Amelia's presence lingered in Noah's mind. It wasn't just the way she fit so effortlessly into Lily's life. It was the way she made him feel, unraveled, seen, alive. No one had done that in years. Yet Noah wasn't a man who let emotions dictate his actions. He had built his empire by making calculated decisions, by eliminating risk. And falling for someone like Amelia, that was the biggest risk of all. It was nearly midnight when Noah found himself outside Little Stars. The place was dark, but the faint glow of a desk lamp shone through the window. He knocked, and moments later, Amelia appeared at the door, wrapped in a sweater, her hair slightly messy from a long day. "Noah?" She blinked in surprise. "What are you doing here?" He hesitated. He didn't have a logical answer, but logic had already failed him when it came to her. "I needed to see you," he admitted. Amelia studied him for a long moment before stepping aside. "Come in." The daycare was quiet, the air filled with the faint scent of crayons and vanilla. Noah leaned against the counter as Amelia crossed her arms, watching him with a mixture of curiosity and concern. "What's going on?" she asked softly. Noah exhaled. "Lily adores you." Amelia smiled. "I adore her too." He hesitated before continuing. "And I—" He stopped, his jaw tightening. Amelia's expression softened. "Noah, whatever it is, just say it." He met her gaze, and for the first time the words came easily. "I don't want to lose this," he said. "Lose you." Amelia's breath hitched, but she remained silent, waiting. Noah pushed forward. "I've spent so much of my life keeping people at a distance, believing that control was the only way to avoid pain. But with you," he exhaled, "you make me want to take a risk." Amelia took a slow step toward him, searching his face. "And are you ready for that?" she asked. Noah's answer was clear. He reached out, his fingers gently brushing against hers. "Yes." And then she kissed him. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't uncertain. It was everything he had been avoiding, yet everything he suddenly knew he wanted. As the days passed, Noah and Amelia found themselves falling, not just into love, but into something deeper, a partnership, a balance, a life neither had expected. Lily was ecstatic, of course, declaring one morning, "Now we can all have breakfast together forever." Noah had laughed, pulling her into his arms. "That's the plan, Munchkin." And for the first time in years, Noah Sinclair wasn't just living to control his life. He was living to enjoy it. Because sometimes The greatest love stories don't begin with grand gestures or perfect timing. Sometimes, they start with a simple mistake and a woman who was always meant to be his.